What was a fact that you regret knowing? Cockroaches can fly at 5 kilometers per hour and can live 3 weeks without their head. They eventually die of starvation. They have a main brain in their head and also a primitive brain near their abdomen. Cockroaches also predate grass. The last one is not that scary but kinda scary knowing they've been here so long, so getting them out will be harder and they will probably outlive humans. Edit reworded some stuff. The youngest recorded person to give birth was 5 years old. Edit. For those asking, here's the link, https://en.m.wikipedia.org/wiki/Lena_Medina closing parenthesis. An octopus penis is actually one of their tentacles. So if you would go and pet an octopus at SeaWorld or some other place, you could be groping their penis. There are regulations on how much ground-up cockroach may be in coffee, not if, how much. That my father died believing that I was not his child. When my mother told me, it broke my heart and has forever changed my relationship with my family. It's harder to recognize suicidal people than you'd think. I don't really regret knowing this, but it's a depressing fact nonetheless. Dolphins will use a pufferfish to get high, sucking on the poison they excrete. Alternately, they will also use fish as a fleshlight, and effectively fuck them to death to get their jollies. Monkeys, baboons are also known to do this, but with frogs, toads instead. Nature is so beautiful. Sorta cliché, but there are millions and billions of living organisms on your body, so to them, you are their galaxy. When David Foster Wallace hanged himself on his back porch, he tied his hands together with duct tape so that even if he changed his mind at the last minute, he wouldn't be able to escape. He had been struggling with severe mental health issues for more than a decade, so it was sad but not surprising when he finally succeeded in committing suicide. I just wish I didn't know that detail about the duct tape. That my date of birth is exactly 9 months after my dad's birthday. Tapeworm faces are absolutely terrifying. Chainsaws were originally meant to be a surgeon's instrument. My parents are swingers, and now well into their 70s. The world's longest shit in 26 feet long. Bonus, otters regularly gang rape and commit necrophilia. Doctors performed surgeries on infants without anesthesia until the 80s, they thought the babies couldn't feel pain. That you have to clean lumps out from underneath a horse's foreskin from time to time. Somewhere, someplace, someone is starving to death at this moment. Not like I'm regretting it, but makes me sad every time I recall it. That odd pistachio you get every few nuts that tastes funny is because of a navel orange worm died inside of it. Sorry. More people have tapeworms than dogs. That makes them the most popular pet. The fact that at literally any second you could lose someone you love. Everyone knows this, but once it's happened a few times you're acutely aware of it. A car wreck, a miscarriage, a heart attack, stroke. Not really a fact. But when I was 20, I wasn't afraid of anything. Now that I am approaching 40, I've learned of so many ways things can go wrong and people can fuck up that I'm always at least a bit cautious. That's probably for the best, but I liked being a fearless 20-year-old more. Before I found this site I was just like you. I had friends. I had a social life. I had a mild drinking problem. The way rabies kills, once you have symptoms, you're already dead. My dad showed me a science video disproving the theory that gravity is a force. I felt like Squidward when he got stuck in the future. From my first job at KFC. You can't really tell the chicken is spoiled once you put it in the fryer. Having a social media account lowers your percentage of making physical friends. Your child is more likely to be abused by someone you know than a stranger. You literally have to protect children more from their own family and friends than random criminals. Platypi produce both milk and eggs, making them a portable source of omelets. Dying from starvation is because your body exhausted all of its resources to feed your brain, and then finally as a last resort it taps into digesting the muscles around vital organs in order to get the ketones your brain needs until there's only one muscle left, your heart. So technically you die because you ate your own heart, not a scientifically accurate explanation. Closer to ELI 5, but yay, could have gone a lifetime without knowing that. Everything I read on here just now. Beyond that, the heinous deeds of several serial killers. Furby's eyes are in the front, which would make them a predator. The magnitude of how dirty hotel rooms are. Because your body uses vitamin C to make collagen, which holds your skin together and makes scar tissue. When you get scurvy, your old wounds reopen. Actor Daniel von Bargen, Super Troopers, Seinfeld, attempted suicide by shooting himself in the temple with a .38 revolver. He was diabetic and didn't want to go to the hospital for another amputation. Unfortunately, he survived and was severely wounded. He also was permanently blinded from the gunshot. There's a transcript of the police call that left me shook. He passed away 3 years later from a battle with diabetes. I remember reading this as why some people duct tape the gun to their hand if they attempt suicide in case the first shot doesn't complete the job. That my dad likely has terminal brain cancer. I was setting up my chart for him and stumbled upon the information. Bears don't really care if their prey is alive or dead, so most bear killings maulings likely happened while the human was still alive, and likely conscious and terrified. Before the Nazis executed people in Auschwitz-Birkenau, they would shave the heads and save the hair of anyone whose hair was long. This was so they could weave it into material and make socks and other clothes with it. I will never forget going to Auschwitz-Birkenau. It's harrowing in ways that words and pictures cannot describe. Hard work won't pay anything back sometimes. Take care of my mother for a decade. But the monster of schizophrenia is getting stronger and stronger. There is nothing I can do. So does the medicine. My mother abandoned me as a baby. My father raised me as an infant. My mother came back and the courts in the 1960s gave custody back to her even though my father fought for me. All my life, my mother demonized my father and worked to keep us apart. All of my life, I have struggled with the feeling that I don't belong. This comes from being raised not belonging to my mother's new family, or my father's new family. I have always carried a pervasive feeling of abandonment. Then one day my father drops the bomb by telling my brother, "Go outside and find somewhere you can look up at the sky, and lie down. Now, picture the entire Earth all at once. Try to imagine every landmass, every city, every single person on the planet. Think about the rotation of the Earth and how many of those people are currently asleep as the sun hits the other side of the planet. Now, extend that until it feels like you're wearing the entire planet as a backpack and think about how subjective direction is, that in fact as you stare up, you are actually staring forward. The Earth is spinning around the sun at 460 meters a second. That is how fast you are moving forward and the only thing holding you down is the gravity of the Earth. Now think about how the sun is moving even faster, spinning even more, toward infinite nothing. So yeah, basically that. Santa had sexual relations with my mom. Someone tried and failed to save Abraham Lincoln, and his life just got worse from there. ##. This year, more people will use cocaine than will read a book to their children. Aneurysms can happen to anyone at any time for no reason and can burst at any time for no reason. If you look like your mom, you are your dad's type. I watched someone jump off the Stone Arch Bridge in Minneapolis and saw them pee their pants right before they jumped. C-section births in America happen more so on Friday because they take less time than a vaginal birth, and doctors want to start their weekend early. That there are people who rape infants. Bit dark here, but that my brother molested my sister when we were kids. I mean, I hated my brother before. He's a racist, vain, selfish, cunt. But knowing that he did that to my sister, that he fucked her up for her whole life, just makes me hate him with a deep burning passion that will never go away or subside. All of Disney's horrible business practices. Mainly because if you criticize Disney or even bring these up, you get fans saying, "Stop ruining my childhood," even if it's something they did last week. The existence of dust mites. The Challenger space shuttle astronauts were most likely alive and awake on the way down. There was an experiment once where, every hour, a rat had to choose between getting fed or having the pleasure nerve of its brain stimulated. And the rat being tested starved every time. It's pretty interesting but also kind of sad. Thanks, Freeman's Mind. That my girlfriend once sucked her friend's husband's penis when she went to the bathroom, yesterday. That dolphins gang rape. Honestly, I hate this thread already. A few months ago, my best friend drunkenly admitted to me to cheating on his GF 4 years ago. They had been together about a year at this point. Bob Ross actually hated his afro. When he started out, it was the easiest hairstyle to maintain, and once he picked up some traction, it was too iconic to get rid of. The existence of 2 girls 1 cup. Duck's penis. Netflix raised the price again. Doctors didn't think babies could feel pain until most likely somewhere in the 1900s, so they would operate on babies without giving any anesthesia. That so many people will post half-truths and outright myths on this thread and not take 2 minutes to Google if what they are writing is a fact. This is dark, but in the US, police are not legally obligated to protect you. There was a case where a police department refused to enforce a restraining order or act after a father kidnapped his 3 daughters because they assumed he would bring them back to his wife eventually. He ended up killing them and driving their bodies to the police station, where he was then shot and killed. The police department was sued for not acting, but was found not guilty. Oysters are alive when you eat them. Male ducks gang rape female ducks. Every suicide by hanging that I have had to go to, I can see their regret after it starts and before they pass out from the evidence at the scene. I can't imagine what is happening in people's minds as they struggle to fix something they can't. Leads me to believe, just like the documentary about the Golden Gate Bridge jumpers has said, it almost is always a instant regret. That not everything said in Reddit is factual and is good advice. Take whatever Redditors say with a grain of salt and do your own research to back it up. Pressing the F5 key won't make your computer go fast. My dog loves to eat cat poo. And #X200B. She also doesn't brush her teeth and love to give me kisses. If you die, sun continues to shine and life goes on. Most people forget you in 1 month. McRibs are made from the parts of the pig nobody wants to eat, like hearts and stomach lining. Whales don't die of old age. They just run out of energy to the point they can't swim anymore and just sink, which results in them drowning. Tiger piss smells like butter popcorn. Skin of our lips and asshole is same. Hugging dogs can sometimes stress them out. Horses masturbated by hitting their 1-meter-long dong against their bellies. Female horses rub against wooden poles, and end up with splinters 10 centimeters long in their coochie. Ooh, the top comment is an anesthesia fact. Let's make people less comfortable. Anesthesiologists use a proprietary mix of drugs. It might be called general anesthetic, but each one mixes their own cocktail. When I was young, watching the making of The Matrix really ruined the magic for me. That rats are really good swimmers and can come up out of your toilet. That anesthesia doesn't always works. My colleague donated one of his kidneys to his brother and he experienced the entire operation without being able to move or scream. Pain and all. Took many months of therapy moving on from this. Thanks for watching. See you later.